Thousands of people once dragged stones heavier than trucks across empty landscapes. No engines, no steel cranes, no modern machines. Yet the ancient world is filled with monuments so enormous that they still dominate the horizon thousands of years later. The Great Pyramid of Giza stood as the tallest human-made structure on Earth for nearly 4,000 years. The stones of Stonehenge traveled distances that seem impossible. The statues of Easter Island stare across the Pacific like silent witnesses. Why would entire societies spend decades building things that served no practical purpose? The answer is stranger than giant stones. Because monuments were never really about the monuments. They were about people. Imagine waking up before sunrise in ancient Egypt. The Nile floods have ended. The fields are quiet. A royal official arrives with instructions. For the next few months, you will help move limestone blocks toward a rising pier. The work is exhausting. The project seems endless, yet tens of thousands participate. Not because they are all slaves. Modern archaeological evidence suggests many pyramid workers were skilled laborers who received food, housing, and social status. Archaeologists spent decades studying worker settlements near Giza. His findings revealed organized communities, bakeries, workshops, and medical care. This was not random labor. It was a national project. And that detail changes everything. The pyramid was not merely a tomb, it was proof that the state could command resources on an unimaginable scale. Every stone sent a message. The ruler is powerful. The kingdom is organized, the gods approve. But Egypt was not unique. Across the world, different civilizations reached the same conclusion. If you want people to believe in something larger than themselves, build something they cannot ignore. Consider Stonehenge. Some of its stones traveled more than 200 kilometers. Researchers still debate every detail of its construction, but one fact remains astonishing. Communities repeatedly gathered to move massive rocks with no obvious economic reward. Why? Because the journey itself may have been the point. Shared effort creates shared identity. When thousands struggle together, they begin to see themselves as part of the same story. Could giant monuments have been ancient social media? In a way, yes. They broadcast messages, not through screens, through landscapes. A monument told every visitor who controlled the region. It told neighboring groups who possessed power. It told future generations what mattered. And it worked. Long after kings died, their monuments continued speaking. The same pattern appears in Mesopotamia. The massive ziggurats rising above cities were visible from miles away. Their height transformed religious ideas into physical reality. The closer a structure reached the sky, the closer people felt to divine authority. Psychologists call this prestige signaling. Humans naturally associate size with importance. Large animals command attention. Large trees dominate forests. Large buildings dominate cities. Ancient rulers understood this instinct long before modern psychology existed. Build something enormous, people will remember it. But monuments did more than impress. They organized societies. Historian argues that large civilizations depend on shared beliefs. Money works because people believe in it. Governments function because people believe in them. Religions spread because communities share stories. Monuments turn those invisible beliefs into visible objects. You could point to them, touch them, walk around them. The belief became real. This may explain one of archaeology's greatest mysteries. Some monuments appeared before complex states fully developed. At sites like massive stone pillars were erected around 9,600 BCE. That is thousands of years before the Egyptian pyramids. Even more surprising, the builders may have been hunter-gatherers. For decades, researchers assumed agriculture came first, then cities, then monuments. Göbekli Tepe challenged that sequence. What if monuments helped create civilization instead of civilization creating monuments? Archaeologists propose that large ritual gatherings may have encouraged cooperation on a scale never seen before. People met, shared food, shared beliefs, shared labor. Over time, those relationships became more permanent. Civilization may not have begun with farming alone, it may have begun with collective imagination, and imagination is powerful. Every monument represents a story made visible. The pyramid says the king becomes divine. The ziggurat says heaven and earth are connected. The stone circle says this place matters. Without the story, the stones are just stones. With the story, they become sacred. This reveals another hidden purpose. Monuments create memory. Humans forget. Buildings remember. A monument can survive long after its creators disappear. It preserves values, beliefs, victories, warnings. Even when languages vanish, structures remain. The ancient Maya left cities hidden beneath jungle canopies. The Romans left roads and arenas across continents. The Egyptians left pyramids rising from desert sands. Their voices faded. Their monuments continued speaking. But there is also a darker side. Many monuments reflected inequality. The ability to mobilize enormous labor forces often depended on concentrated power. Not everyone benefited equally. Some leaders used monuments to legitimize authority. Others used them to demonstrate dominance. The larger the structure, the stronger the message. Obey, believe, remember. This relationship between architecture and power never disappeared. Modern nations still build monumental structures. Capitol buildings, memorials, skyscrapers, gigantic stadiums. The materials changed, the psychology did not. We still use buildings to communicate values. We still measure success through scale. We still gather around symbols larger than ourselves. So why did ancient civilizations build giant monuments? Not because they needed giant piles of stone, not because they had spare time, not because they enjoyed hard labor. They built monuments because humans are storytelling creatures. Stories create cooperation, cooperation creates civilizations. And monuments transform stories into something visible, something permanent, something unforgettable. The most surprising part is that the stones themselves were never the real achievement. The real achievement was convincing thousands of strangers to believe in the same idea. A pyramid is not a mountain of rock. It is a mountain of shared belief. A monument is not evidence of what ancient people built. It is evidence of what they imagined together. And when you look at those giant structures today, you are not really looking at stone. You are looking at the power of a story strong enough to outlive its storytellers. Strong enough to outlive its storytellers.